Today I want to talk about a series of videos that I've planned for this channel that I'm going to be releasing over probably the next 6 months. This is going to be a prologue to that series of videos. And also later on I want to talk a little bit about some updates to what's been going on with this channel and just kind of in my life in general, and talk about the direction of this channel. You may have noticed that if you're subscribed to this channel, you may have noticed that Stranded Bricklayer, some bricklaying videos got uploaded, and these are some videos that I tried starting on their own channel, tried keeping everything in masonry separate, but it wasn't really doing very well. It's very hard to start a brand new channel, so I'm consolidating everything together. I got rid of a bunch of the crypto stuff on this channel, so we'll talk a little bit about some videos that I've planned. I've got a bunch of mechanic stuff planned, got some telehandler stuff, a bunch of welding stuff. I'm actually welding as a career right now, which is going to fall in place with the theme of this video. Some agricultural stuff that I'm doing and heavy duty stuff that's going to go right in line with this mini excavator build that I have planned. So let's kind of get into the meat and potatoes of this. And if you haven't found out, if it isn't clear by now, this is going to be a mini excavator build, and this is I'm at the earliest stages right now. Honestly, I haven't completely pulled the trigger on buying the parts yet. I'm probably going to be doing that within the next few days. Once that happens, there's a return policy on, good return policy for Princess Auto, which you can see I've queued up here, and I could still kind of go back, but once I start burning metal, once I start cutting metal, and there's really no going back from there. And I'm feeling pretty confident. I've been doing a little bit of budgeting on this, which you'll see a little bit later on. That's going to be one of the big things with this series of videos, is I want to do a very in-depth breakdown on the time that it takes me, and the tools that I'm using, the cost. I'm going to be trying to pick as much of everything as I can pick up on sale. There's a bunch of pumps and motors that are on sale right now, and over the next 6 months I'll be watching for other items as they go on sale. Hopefully some rams and some valves can be going on sale. And I'll be trying to repurpose as much as I can as well. Hopefully I can find some scrap metal and maybe some automotive stuff in the scrap yard that I can repurpose for this build as well. We're going to try to keep the prices down as much as I can, but I also want to make this relatable. So I want this to be something that can be usable or practical for different people in different locations throughout the world. Hopefully we're going to try to go that direction anyways. Like I said, I'm going to do as good as a breakdown as I can for this. The first thing I kind of want to get out of the way, and we're going to kind of get into some videos that I've been watching that gave me some inspiration for this. And the first thing I want to get out of the way is, if you are doing this just like out of your garage, maybe you just live in a suburban area and you don't work in a welding shop or have that much mechanical experience, and you have a full-time job, maybe you're younger, this isn't going to be a great project for you. This may be an interesting series of videos for you to watch, something for you to consider, but if you're actually thinking about going down this route, seriously considering it, you're going to have to realize that the budgeting for this is going to be very tight. And if you don't have specialized resources that you can pull from, for instance, I work in a shop that has a bunch of machining equipment and CNC equipment, and I'm able to get pretty decent prices on steel and parts. If you don't have those resources available to you, these mini excavators coming out of China, and this is what I actually got my inspiration out of, was watching this first video. This is what started everything off. And in China they have these parts are very much cheaper straight out of China, right? And the labor costs are very much cheaper out of China. These things the paint isn't done very well on these things. You know, there's a bunch of reasons why these things are so affordable. And it may, if this is something that you really want, one of these excavators, something that you really want, I would actually totally recommend one of these, even if you're, you know, you're pretty handy and you're thinking about buying one of these. I would just recommend trying to pick up one of these at an auction. A lot of these are already selling imported at auctions, pretty affordable. For you, it may end up being the same cost for you to build this, and it may not end up looking as good as this, right? So it may just be better off for you to go to an auction and purchase one of these at auction. And the great thing about these is what actually motivated me to build one of these, is everything is pretty much off the shelf. Other than maybe these joysticks here, which might be a little bit more difficult to source, most of this stuff is pretty much off the shelf. And, you know, even the one that I build isn't going to look kind of as pretty and polished as something like this. Not to say that these Chinese excavators are that pretty and polished compared to, you know, these brand name machines. But, you know, it's something to take in consideration. This isn't something that is going to have a ton of resale value on it. So you're going to want to consider that, putting that much money into a build like this, again, especially if you don't have the resources, and then not really be able to turn around. This is going to be something that you're going to be wanting to keep because it's not going to be that easy to sell. Nevertheless, again, so for my resources, again, with the shop that I work at, hopefully this is a new shop that I'm working at. Hopefully, by the seams of it, you know, throughout different shops I've worked out throughout my life, they're usually pretty decent about letting people come into their, you know, after hours, kind of helping them, letting them use some of their equipment, as long as you're respectful and it doesn't get too excessive. So it does appear that I have some, like I have a CNC plasma table, CNC press brake, lathe, you know, end mill. There's a few different things I have at my disposal that are going to help me out quite a bit. There's, you know, especially for making these pins. And there's also a bunch of scrap inventory at this shop, specialized stock metal. For instance, precision ground pins and bushings and collars, hydraulic hoses. This is all stuff that I can get for a bit of cheaper prices. I was even think about going so far as collecting some hydraulic hoses. A lot of times people bring in hydraulic hoses that have just worn at certain points and they replace the entire hose. I may be able to salvage parts of those hoses if they're still in good condition, just by cutting them at the break or the wear point. You know, I'm trying to keep the cost down as much as I can on this because, you know, just doing very early budgeting on this, it looks like, you know, this may get as expensive as $10,000 CAD. I live in Canada, so we're going to go on Canadian prices. As you can see here, I got Princess Auto queued up. If you live in the United States, you know, you might have the Harbor Freight equivalent, or wherever else you live in the world, there's some sort of equivalent. This is essentially a Chinese-owned corporation. You know, they import parts straight out of China. It's kind of interesting how they have this Canadian branding towards it, but it is, my understanding, a Chinese company. So, you know, I'm going to do my best to get everything I can on sale. I'll try to do sale prices. I'll try to do a breakdown of sale prices and full prices in the budgeting. So let's just kind of get into some of my inspirations for this video. Like I said, this is the first video that I watched. This is Digit Starnes, and he has a series of videos on this Chinese excavator that goes into really great detail. You get to see all the different parts all over this machine. I'm not going to go into too much detail of it because we're going to see it throughout my build. See all these different parts come together. These are almost entirely all off-the-shelf parts, and yeah, so this is kind of what gave me my inspiration. He does some torture tests on these as well. These machines compete pretty much one-to-one as far as power and speed goes. as these brand name machines that cost $30, $40, $50,000. And you can, like I say, you can pick one of these up straight out of China. You can import them off AliExpress for maybe a little bit cheaper than that, but I'd be careful with that, because every video that you look at, people that go into this trying to import these themselves, if you're going to do it, at least by the bare minimum, get a customs broker. I did a little bit of shipping when I was younger. I worked for Pratt & Whitney, and I did if you don't know, they make gas turbine airplane engines, and I was a shipper for them for a short period of time. And even myself as a shipper, shipping dangerous goods, very expensive packages all over the world, we still used shipping brokers, all right? So don't think that you are going to be able to get through this without using a shipping broker. These customs agencies, whatever corporations, these customs workers, they don't like dealing with average everyday people, right? It's a bit of a headache. You don't oftentimes have all the proper documentation or have everything organized. It makes their jobs more difficult. Just use a customs broker, and you're going to get through that process much easier. It's going to be worth, every dollar you spend is going to be worth its weight in gold, right? Just want to get that out of the way. It's much easier just to pick one of these up at an auction. I'll use Ritchie Brothers auction, for example. There are a bunch of these for sale on Ritchie Brothers auction. Interestingly enough, you almost never see any of these for sale used. But there's tons of these brand new in auction that you can pick up for $8,000 to $10,000, and it just makes it so much simpler. Just try to pick one of these up at auction. Or if you're that motivated, maybe you're retired, maybe you are younger, but you want to use this as an educational experience, just realize that this is going to be very expensive, and if you don't have a lot of this specialized equipment, it's going to be very difficult. There's going to be ways around it. You're going to want to get creative if you don't have access to things like lathes, because a lot of these bushings, to, like I say, plasma torch these pieces by hand, that's very much doable. It's just going to take much longer, and it's not going to be as accurate, and you're going to have to be much more careful. So if this is something like you're retired, or you want to do this for an educational experience, you want to use this as something to help you develop your welding, fabricating, mechanical skills, great. Just don't think you're going to get this done for under $5,000 or at $5,000, which is what I'm hoping to be able to do. Mine's not going to be as pretty as this. This could cost me up to as much as $10,000, which is exactly probably what I would pay at auction, or even possibly after import. But I'm fine with that, because I'm getting content out of this. Not to mention that this way I don't have to save up the money. It's just hard to save money, right? You just got that money sitting around wanting to be burnt, and this gives me something to kind of do throughout the winter months. And I think it's going to be a great learning experience. I'm going to possibly end up downloading, I think it's is it Adobe? There is to create the DXF files to be able to be used on the plasma table. I'm going to download that software. It's going to teach me to be able to how to create files to be used in that software for the plasma table, and get some experience with those programs. So there's tons of great experience that you can get from building one of these. This video is kind of dragging on a bit. I didn't really want it to be this long, so let's kind of just try to wrap it up. I wanted to show you a couple other videos and channels that I got inspiration from. I do believe this appears to be some sort of Russian fellow or Eastern European fellow here that built this really awesome. He uses car axles. He uses a lot for his hinge points here. He uses a bunch of automotive parts. Makes this 4-wheel drive little mini loader here. This is something that I would also really like to build. I don't know if I want to build a mini loader. I don't need something that I need to be sitting on, but he gets really creative. It looks like he's got his hydraulic reservoir here. This is something that's really cool. I would love to build one of these, but I think I'm probably just going to end up, if this mini excavator turns out to be a decent build, I might end up building a stand behind skid steer as well. And then also we've got Lucia's workshop here, and she does a ton of really awesome CNC millwork, all kinds of really cool stuff. She builds all of her own wheel hubs. You know, there's really cool stuff in watching this. This is a full-size skid steer that she is building here. It looks like actually this is recent. I didn't realize she was building this recently. So that's probably why I haven't seen the finished product yet. I thought maybe you're going to see a lot of people. There's tons and tons and tons of videos of people building these projects. You're going to see a lot of people that just sort of stop like halfway through. And that's probably because they get overwhelmed with the costs. They don't realize how every last little thing ends up nickel and diming you to death, and the amount of time and work that goes into this. And I do this for a living. I've been doing, you know, bricklaying, jumping back and forth between bricklaying and mechanics and welding and truck driving and those sorts of things my entire life. I've got, you know, 10 years easy in high production, also fabrication, and you know, I've built lots of prototype stuff. I've got a lot of experience, and I know what goes into this. And again, if you don't have the equipment, a lot of this equipment, it gets much more difficult, much faster. I've seen people try and build this out on their lawns, not having a flat surface to build on. You know, it can become a real headache and a real drag, and you can get real frustrated real quick. So just kind of be careful of that going into this. You know, I'm going to be trying to buy everything on sale. We're going to try to keep the prices down. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for the excavator side of this. I'll talk just a little bit about what I have planned for my channel. I just want to show you a little bit of some of the prices, some of the research I've been doing. We've got some hydraulic pumps here. You know, I'm waiting for these rams to go on sale. I'll be waiting for these motors to go on sale. I've considered using a large motor and 2 of these 2-stage pumps. You know, there's all sorts of different combinations. I thought about maybe going with 2 smaller motors that have pumps already installed on them. I don't know if I need that much power. One of the things that you'll see a lot of people talking about when they review these excavators is that it seems like either the pump isn't big enough, or the fact that it's a single stage pump, or maybe only have 1 pump, that a lot of these operations on these are very jerky. So I've thought about maybe using a large enough 2-stage pump with a good large motor on it should just solve the problem. But I've even considered going as far as using a very large oversized motor and running 2 2-stage pumps tandem, just to see how smooth I can get this. I may want to even build this. This is a 1-ton excavator, which is roughly the size that I want to build this to. But I kind of want this stick just a little bit bigger, so I may try to scale things up a little bit. That's actually another thing that I'm going to be doing for research, is I'm going to be trying to go to maybe rental places. Home Depot would be a good option, because they just have their equipment sitting out in a parking lot, and nobody's really going to bother you if you're out there just kind of crawling around on things, taking pictures. But that's, you know, the machine that they had, at least at my location, wasn't quite what I'm looking for. So I may try to find a rental place that doesn't mind me going in there and crawling around on some of their equipment. Find a machine that's got the specs that's going to match what I want, and hopefully I can find something that's 1-to-1, or I may end up trying to scale up this stick just a little bit here. Okay, so let's kind of get into why my bricklaying stuff has come over to this channel. As you can see here, we've got Dracula, Stranded Bricklayer. I've moved all my bricklaying stuff over to this channel because that channel just really wasn't doing all that well. And these videos, I put a lot of time into making these videos. I downloaded, you know, a bunch of video editing software, and I downloaded, you know, I bought Canva and for making better thumbnails, and I put a lot of production into these. I was using multiple cameras for these. I put a lot of work in these videos, and they just weren't getting any traction whatsoever. And maybe it's just people aren't that interested, but you know, I couldn't get more than 4 subscribers on that channel, and be perfectly honest, 2 of those subscribers were my own other channels that I use. So I had like 2 subscribers on that channel. It's just crazy, and I put really a lot of work into some of these videos. This hearth video is actually pretty cool. You can get to see one of my previous welding projects, my 1-ton with the picker on it. You know, tearing some windows apart. Not that great of a video, but my concrete pad, and you can see my my little dump trailer that I built. So I've got tons of these projects, and I want to do more videos on this dump trailer as well. So that's going to be something that's coming. There's a telehandler in the shop that I'm working on right now that we've done some refurbishing on. That actually had a bent boom on it that was replaced. I do a bunch of videos on that, and there's just tons of stuff that I've got coming to this channel that I think are pretty interesting, that I think people might like. So I think I'm going to consolidate everything on this channel for now, and if things do end up taking off on the YouTube side, maybe I can split them back apart later on. But for the most part, you're going to see, I got rid of all the crypto stuff too. I have a separate channel for that, Drat Grinds, we'll just call it. I'm probably going to end up changing the name of that channel. So the crypto stuff's all separate now. I've got a bit of recreation stuff in here as well. It's me cutting up trees, do a little bit of dirt biking, having fun. And yeah, so that's going to be bricklaying, mechanics, welding, maybe even see a little bit of truck driving in there, here and there. And that's the plans. That's the plans for this channel, and that's the plans for my mini excavator build. You're gonna see some more of those videos coming soon as I start burning metal. Probably I'll start doing some more update videos, or once I start, if I do download the software to start drawing out plans, you can start maybe seeing some videos then. It might be a couple weeks, maybe a couple months before I get things going. I don't think it'd be much longer than a month before I get some videos going on that. And then you'll probably end up seeing a bunch of more videos of shop videos of stuff that I've been building, that I've been working on. Like I say, we've got tons of really cool equipment at this shop that I'm working at. I don't know if you've ever seen a CNC brake before. I've never worked with one until I came to the shop. Didn't even really know they existed. Pretty cool, really cool stuff. I don't want to do too much filming in their shop. I think that's a little bit disrespectful, but I do want to show you, I've got some really, really cool stuff that we're working on. So I hope you were able to make it through this video. I hope this is interesting. I hope you're along for the journey, and we'll see you out there.